Hello and welcome to your daily dose of Satoshi's news. Today's date is Monday, the 3rd of November, 2025, the year BSV comes alive. Branch your threads, expand your mind with treechat.ai, all your posts put on chain. Right, let's see what we got today. Obviously, just going to go through some posts on my feed. Cointelegraph has got an article here saying BTC miner Iron lands $9.7 billion Microsoft deal. Yeah, Microsoft deal accelerating industry's pivot to GPUs. Like, what's all that about? Microsoft wanting in on the action now. Something is afoot, so we'll see what's going on there. And then we'll go through the figures as per usual. Some juicy blocks coming through there. Nice amount of 24-hour transaction volume, putting us in third place. Obviously, we'll just have a look at some of the price action. Look at that. Look at that. Things are happening in the market. And then we'll finish with some 365 days of Bitcoin history. There's quite a lot to get through there. Right, let's get into it.
Satoshi, like a cowboy in the West, riding on the blockchain that they call the very best. 1 million strong, and transactions flying free. Just wait for the Terra node, you'll surely see.
All right, here we go. So let's start here on my feed. I had to put clapping hands for this because Montgomery Toms has said here, I've gone through airport security, refused to be scanned and blasted unnecessarily with radiation, just asked for a pat down, to which they accepted, no questions asked. Never take the knee to peer pressure. Well done, mate. Well done. Well done. You know, but I wonder how long that'll last, where you can just simply ask to get patted down. It's like, got your digital ID? I don't think so. And again, this is another one why the world needs Bitcoin. MAGA Voice says here, holy crap, Trump just posted a video on Sheriff exposing how Gavin Newsom steals elections. Would be a shame if everyone saw this. And again, this is why the world needs Bitcoin, because we know they've been rigging elections. They've done it over here. It's the criminality going on. It's just unbelievable. And this is why the world needs Bitcoin, to expose all these criminals that are literally trying to install a totalitarian one world government and following their religious extremist ideology. That's what it's about. We're hanging in the balance, and it's all about Bitcoin. Like I said the other day, it's Satoshi versus Satan, literally is what we're up against. There was a YouTube short here, and I posted it saying the Satanic EU bringing in the beast system 666. And they've put here what the European Union just did is the biblical equivalent of the beast system. And again, the whole point of the European Union is to go against the word of God in the book of Daniel. Anything that goes against the word of God, these satanic bastards will do. This was a really great sort of like a 15-minute video here, interview by Liz Truss, who exposed who was really running the UK, like the Office for Budget Responsibilities. They have the Governor of the Bank of England who can't be sacked. He's got an 8-year term and all that. It was a fascinating interview. She's like, yeah, there are all these people. You think you're voting for a prime minister who's got a say in this country, and he doesn't. But again, this is why the world needs Bitcoin, because all legal and political influence stem from economic power. That's how important Bitcoin is. There was another video here about how bank debts between empires triggered worldwide war. So it was like World War I. That was a fantastic little episode there. And check this out. So Ray Dalio, another colossus in the finance, doesn't know the difference between money and currency. So I've said here, you can't print money. You can only print currency. And he'd said here, when an empire runs out of its own money, it's able to increase the supply of money. No, currency, mate. However, printing more money, which you can't do, causes borrowing to increase, creating a financial bubble. I urge you to watch The Changing World Order on my YouTube channel to understand how and what it means for all of us. Well, mate, how about you learn the difference between money and currency first before actually spending any time listening to you? But, fair play. Still, somebody in his... But, I mean, look, someone like Ray Dalio doesn't know the difference between money and currency. It's absolutely crazy. And Kama said here, India's digital ID disaster is a warning to the world. Over 1 billion people were forced into a biometric system linking food, pensions, and healthcare to a single digital ID. The result, a human crisis. Criminals hacked and cloned identities, leaving families starving, elderlies without pensions, and the sick turned away from hospitals. In one state alone, 24 people starved to death after being denied rations due to system failures. Millions of fake accounts siphoned funds meant for the poor, creating a black market for stolen identities. Sold as secure, it became a tool for control and exploitation. Well, would you believe it? When survival depends on a single ID, a glitch or a hacker can erase your access to life itself. This isn't progress, it's a blueprint for a dystopia. Yeah, absolutely. Let's have a listen.
For those of you who think that digital ID sounds convenient, let me warn you what happened in India, where over 1 billion people were forced into a system like this. It became one of the largest disasters of the century. In India, the government linked people's food rations, pensions, and even hospital access to a digital ID system. The problem? Criminal networks learned how to hack and manipulate biometric data. When fingerprints didn't match, or when hackers swapped someone's identity, people were locked out of survival. Entire families were denied food. In just one state, at least 24 people starved to death after being cut off from rations. Some elderly pensioners went months with no income because their IDs were hijacked. Victims reported going to the store only to be told, your fingerprint doesn't match, no food for you. Others went to hospitals and were turned away because their ID had been cloned. Imagine being sick, hungry, or elderly, and a glitch or a hacker takes away your right to live. This wasn't just a glitch here or there. Organized criminal groups exploited the system, stealing benefits, rerouting funds, and selling fake identities. At one point, millions of fake accounts were uncovered, used to siphon money meant for the poor. A system sold as secure ended up creating a black market for identities where the poor suffered and criminals thrived. This is the real danger of digital ID. It's not about safety or protecting children. It's about control and exploitation. Once everything you need to live, food, money, medicine, is tied to a single ID, all it takes is an error or a criminal to cut you off. India's experiment showed us what happens. Hunger.
There we go. So that's a warning to everybody. For those who think digital ID is convenient, it's heading to a dystopia. Check this out though. CSW has put a post here ending. He said it was always meant to ignite. And this was regarding Bitcoin. So he said, and if you think Satoshi Nakamoto was anti-fiat and anti-gold backed, and that Peter Schiff somehow got it wrong, then go back to the bloody quote. The quote here says, some of the responses were rather Neanderthal, although I guess they're so used to being anti-fiat money that anything short of gold isn't good enough. They concede that something is flammable, but argue that it'll never burn because there'll never be a spark. Once it's backed with cash, that might change, but I'd probably better refrain from mentioning that in public anymore until we're closer to ready to start. There it is in plain text, written before the zealots rewrote history. Bitcoin was designed to work with money, real, legal, accountable capital, not live in a cave muttering about purity while starving in the dark. The entire system was built to integrate with cash, not reject it. Fiat wasn't the enemy, fraud was. And the fools who can't tell the difference have been worshipping the wrong altar for a decade. You want anti-fiat? That's a religion, not an economy. You want anti-gold? That's just ignorance pretending to be rebellion. Bitcoin was engineered as a payment system, honest, final, verifiable, not a cult for scarcity run by Reddit revolutionaries who can't read. So yes, go back to the quote, read it slowly this time. Then maybe, just maybe, you'll grasp that the rest of us already knew. It was always meant to ignite. So that is Bitcoin. He knows. He's designed Bitcoin ready to ignite the world. So unite and ignite. Absolutely brilliant. Brilliant. Love CSW's posts like that. And that was in response to this one where he said some of their response. Oh yeah, we just read that bit. Some of their responsibles were rather Neanderthal. And then he signed off. Satoshi said that line was prophecy, and the Herdit described those caught fossils still grunt in the caves of their own ignorance. They beat rocks together and call it progress, muttering anti-fiat dogma like monks who've lost the script. They understand nothing of commerce, of law, of the architecture of money. To them, everything must be primitive, manual, unscalable, because their intellects are. They sneer at cash-backed systems as though liquidity were heresy. They call fire impossible because they're terrified of light. They are the men who'd watch a machine ignite and complain that it offends their philosophy. Their code is theology, their blindness a virtue. Bitcoin was meant to civilize trade, not sanctify stupidity. And when the flame catches, they will be starting at the embers, puzzled that the world moved on without them. Oh, yes, indeed. Oh, and that was just 2 days ago. 2 days ago. Fantastic. Loving that little quote there. There we go. Bitcoin was meant to civilize trade, not sanctify stupidity. When the flames catches, they will still be staring at the embers, puzzled that the world moved on without them. So in other words, when the flames catch and it ignites, they were like, what on earth went wrong? Because they didn't see it. They didn't see it because they've been talking shit, blinded by their stupidity. Amazing. Amazing. Great little quote there from Ben Habib. And Riley Cyrus said here, it's a crying shame that not all BSV supporters are in this for the same reason. I understand, though, with our current fiat monetary slave system, we can't all be aligned on the same path at the same time. Hopefully in the future, this won't be the case. BSV will always be Bitcoin either way. Absolutely. Absolutely. And this was quite an interesting post from YX when he said here, BSV is cyber attack proof and transactions can be verified offline. Am I understanding this correct? And he's tagged CSW in that. And my response to that was that there is nothing to cyber attack in Bitcoin. Data is linked together via hash numbers. The only thing cyber is SHA-256, that is simply a colossal number used to create digital competition. And that's literally it. It's like CSW said, there is nothing cyber about Bitcoin, nothing. It's just legacy address to legacy address, and that's what makes it private. And that is it. Let's have a look at Sailor's post here, where I just posted the woke emojis. And he said, Strategy has acquired a 397 BTC for $45.6 million. $114,000 per coin. Oof, oh dear, oh dear. He said Bitcoin has achieved a BTC yield of 26.1. Yield to date 2025 as of the 2nd of the 11th 2025 we hodl 641,000 Gregcoin acquired for 47.49 billion at 74,000 per coin. So he's just bought 397. Can you imagine buying 397 Gregcoin for $45.6 million at $114,000 per coin? What an absolute joke. Can you imagine? He's going to be absolutely livid when he finds out. Buying a shitcoin. Buying Gregcoin. That's hilarious. Honestly, Michael, you should be listening to my show, but, you know, ego's getting too much for you. This is quite a good one. A concerned citizen said, I can't control the experiments over my head. No longer a conspiracy, but a documentary on geoengineering on Amazon Prime. Wow. Check it out. There's a few NPCs going to be like, what? What are you talking about? What's going on? Oh dear, oh dear. Cointelegraph says here, BTC miner Iron lands $9.7 billion Microsoft deal, accelerating industry pivots to GPUs. What? So is that Irene or Iron? Iron's Microsoft partnership underscores how Bitcoin miners, that's Gridcoin, are reinventing themselves as AI infrastructure providers amid tightening margins. Bitcoin mining company Iron has signed a multi-year GPU cloud servicing contract with Microsoft, highlighting the growing integration between traditional mining infrastructure and the expanding demand of big tech for AI computing power. The 5-year agreement, valued at $9.7 billion, will provide Microsoft with access to NVIDIA GB300 GPUs hosted with Iron's data centers. In a related move, Iron also announced a $5.8 billion deal with Dell Technologies to acquire GPUs and related equipment. The company plans to fund its capital expenditures through a combination of cash reserves, customer repayments, and operational cash flow and additional financing. Iron said the agreement reinforces its position as a major provider of AI cloud services, following its pivot into the sector in early 2024. Beyond AI, the company remains one of the largest Gridcoin miners by a realized hash rate. Really? Iron shares traded sharply higher after Monday's market opening, reflecting investor enthusiasm following the Microsoft announcement. I wonder what's really going on then. Gridcoin miners turn to AI as profit pressures mount. Iron is among a growing number of Gridcoin miners making an aggressive pivot to AI GPUs and data infrastructures as they seek to diversify revenue streams amid an increasingly competitive and capital-intensive mining landscape. Hive Digital was one of the first to shift strategy, beginning its transition in mid-2023 and now generating meaningful revenue from the AI through performance computing services. MAR Holdings unveiled an immersion cooling system in 2024 designed to support dense computing workloads such as AI. Earlier this year, Riot Platforms also began laying the groundwork for a potential expansion into AI and high-performance computing. In one of the sector's largest deals to date, TeraWulf announced a $3.7 billion hosting agreement in August with AI cloud platform Fluidstack, who is backed by a Google parent Alphabet. The agreement includes a 10-year colocation lease that could extend in 5-year increments. Anyway, AI data centers, Bitcoin mining. There is something happening, something big. We won't know exactly what. There's always an underlying narrative to it, but we shall see. We shall see. They're definitely the big guns are in on Bitcoin. They know it, but do they know what we know? So look at this. The big dog Gridcoin drops below 107, now $106,000. B crash 514. Fish price cash. Who cares? Bitcoin though just $21 here according to CoinDance. Hash rate 0.01. Network nodes 0.00. Transactions 51% of all the forks, 51.16, and block size 96.39. Beautiful blocks coming through at the moment. 36, 36, 139, 84, 177, 57, 26, 58, 144, 37, 31, 30, 31, 21, 10, 52, 20, 208, 122, 82, 68, 396, that is the biggest block there. Nice. Good to see the transactions and block sizes picking up. 49,000 times cheaper to transact on Bitcoin than Gridcoin. It's currently 7.4% more profitable to mine on Bitcoin than Gridcoin. So you're mining Bitcoin at a 7.4% comparable profit in comparison to Gridcoin. Wow, that is big when you understand what's going on. All right, Grapecoin hash rate, 7 days, B crash. Other miners looks like it's 10% on there. Fisher Price cash, who cares? And then CoinDart's not showing the figures for Bitcoin. Confirmed transactions over the last 24 hours, 513,000. And we've got the 6 miners here. Tal.com 34.9, Q 14.69, QD-Link 13.9, SA100 13.9, Mining Dutch 11.1. Where is Gorilla Pool? Where is Gorilla Pool? Have they just dropped off or something? Is it worth looking at mining? Stats. What mining stats? Are we going to get to see it right now? Are we going to get to see anything? No. Oh, well, never mind. Right, so, oh yeah, so we're, what, 513,000, 509,000. So romping away in front of Grapecoin. Grapecoin 423,000. Bitcoin 509,000. Chomping at the heels of XRP at 677. And Ethereum 1.6 million. See, look at that. Third place in the utility pie charts. And yet buried down at like 100 in CoinMarketCap. Look at this. So just losing out to Grapecoin here, just a little bit over, yeah, kind of like the last 24 hours. Never mind. Let's have a look on Orange Gateway. Look at Bitcoin versus USD. So $21.58. Refresh that. Okay, so $21.32 just dropped a little bit up and down, but it was looking relatively strong over the last 24 hours. Oh, just being pushed down a bit. Look at that. Look at all the red candles here. Look, up, down. Red candle, boom, down. It creeps up a bit. Red candle, down, boom. And again, boom. And it's just creeping up again. And then they push it down and down and down. Look. I would say that is artificial suppression. Looks to me like someone's getting desperate. Someone is getting desperate. All those Grapecoiners manipulating the markets over in their offices, shitting themselves. That's what I think it looks like. And Grapecoin versus Bitcoin. Look at that. Boom. Look, price keeps popping up and then boom, pushed down again. It looks like they're struggling. Looks like they're struggling over at Grapecoin to keep Bitcoin in the box, which is what they're desperate to do. Overall market cap, $3.4 trillion. Grapecoin down $106,000. What's that looking like over 24 hours? Yeah, look. Down and down and down. So 24-hour high 110, 24-hour low 105. So it's dropped $5,000 per coin in 24 hours. Interesting. Let's have a look at the other coins here. Let's see if we can find Bitcoin. Oh, look at that. Tron, looks like the market's dropping off a cliff there. Yeah, look, the entire market's down. Wow, look at that. Down they go, a sea of red. A sea of red. All those short traders with their short positions, they'll be rubbing their hands together, looking at that. Woof. Tether's going to have to do some serious printing in order to bring that back. Wow. And where is Bitcoin number 93? Would you believe it? 93. 24-hour trade volume just 15 million. So $8 million would buy up all the cells, so there wouldn't be any cells left. Representing 3.62% of the market, 24-hour trade volume. All right. Right, let's get into some 365 days of Bitcoin history. Check it out. 3rd of November 2008. So I've got a quote here from Satoshi. Long before the network gets anywhere near as large as that, it would be safe for users to use simplified payment verification, Section 8, to check for double spending, which only requires having the chain of block header. That's a famous quote. Also, 3rd of November 2008. So this was just after the network started, on just after the release of the white paper on the 31st of October 2008. Satoshi was emailing, explaining it. He said the bandwidth might not be as prohibitive as you think. A typical transaction would be about 400 bytes. ECC is nicely compact. Each transaction has to be broadcast twice, so let's say 1 kilobyte per transaction. Visa processes 37 billion transactions in FY 2008, or an average of 100 million transactions per day. That many transactions would take 100 gigabytes of bandwidth, or the size of 12 DVDs or 2 HD quality movies, or about $18 worth of bandwidth at current prices. If the network were to get that big, it would take several years, and by then, sending 2 HD movies over the internet would probably not seem like a big deal. And it's not, obviously we've got the, WeTransfer and all that kind of stuff now. Still, I think 2 HD movies is still a bit of a big deal. So it looks like it's not quite as Satoshi predicted here, considering that was 2008. But yeah, it's not really too much of a big deal. 2 HD movies, you can do that in a big file transfer. On the same day, he also said, as long as honest nodes control the most CPU power on the network, they can generate the longest chain and outpace any attackers. I think that's a line from the white paper. But again, he's explaining how to corrupt the chain, and then predicted that they would. Funny that. On the 3rd of November 2012, the price of Bitcoin was just $11. Oh, it's almost where it is today. Crazy. 3rd of November 2018, Craig wrote an email to Roger that started, "If you want war." Oh, this was classic. Luckily, CSW's calmed down a lot since then, but the fire still rages. Check this one out. He said, to Roger Ver, title ABC, "If you want war, I will do 2 years of no trade, nothing. In the war, no coin can trade. If you want ABC, you want shitcoins, welcome to bankruptcy. It was nice knowing you. Bitcoin will die before ABC shits on it. I will see BCH trade at 0 for a few years. Will you? Side with ABC, you hate Bitcoin. You are my enemy. You have fucking no idea what that means. You will." He says, "I am Satoshi. Have a nice life. You will now discover me when pissed off. And no, you could have had proof. Your choice. Fuck you, Craig." And that was the email that Roger posted. Luckily, Craig has calmed down and he's got a lot more composure these days. But that was him back in the day when he was absolutely on fire. That was 2018. 2018. So again, I think he's calmed down a lot since then. It changed, man, actually, if you ask me. Changed for the better. Much better. We've got a far more calculated Craig now, which is what we want, so that's ace. Anyway, there we go. That's like a 30-minute show. We'll leave it there. Hope you enjoyed it. So as ever, be aware, take care, stay safe out there, and we'll see you in the next one.
The king still has one more move.